Hello, welcome back to Valentine Art Studio. My name is Robinsunne. Please do like, yay, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Alrighty, so the last time we were here, we were making this little sort of 4 by 5-ish little journal. And when we were drawing the papers in part 2 of this, I talked about how you can actually make your journal be any size you wanted. It could be a little one or it could be a bigger one. So then I had to make a bigger one just to prove that you could do that. So this journal is about the same. It's in width anyway. It's 4 3/8. Oh, right, and this one's 4 1/2, but this one has a roll around, a flap to cover, and this one does not, because I don't know why. I don't know why I decided to make it without the flap, because I actually kind of like it when it has a flap. So you could do that if you wanted to. And the height is 8 1/2 inches instead of 5 1/2 inches for the red one. So I put an elastic around the middle, and I put the elastic underneath the signature strings right there. There are 3 signatures. This is a 1/2 inch spine, and it's just barely big enough. So I thought we would just do a little flip through, because the making of this book is pretty much the exact same as the red and green books I did. So I used some of the same tags that I used in the other books, and I think there was a tan book where I used one of these. I made and I used one of these matchbook notebooks. I think in the tan journal that I made last time. All right, you little journal, you. In you go. There we go. So there is a front pocket that is added on. It didn't flip up from the bottom. It's just added on. And then I made some brand new pages. And I thought I would just go over these with you. We should look at that page. So I did some tracings of my paper cuts, a couple of paper cuts. I drew some flowers. Let's see, can you see these? And I drew this little vine. So these papers that I drew will fold in half like that. But then there was this amount of space at the top. This was my template sheet. So I had a very hard time drawing straight lines. That's why there's all this crossed out stuff, but it still works. So this was the paper the template page that I put on my light box. And you'll see that I drew that 1/4 inch all the way around. And I also drew a 1/4 inch, for this side of the page and for this side of the page. But then there was this extra space at the top because the book's only that tall. So what I did was, on a lot of these pages, I drew flowers, or I drew lines. So I drew this little lovely weed looking thing and these sort of sunbursts. And then on this extra space up here, I drew lines. And I drew a border for this page and a border for that page. But then in this extra space, I did a little sort of flower bud to go down the length. And there's another lined page. I was kind of thinking that I would make notebooks out of this page. So that's why I put the lines on the template page, because I knew I would want to copy them. And I made 3 different notebooks. First of all, for all the pages, I'm sorry, I'm yawning. I don't know why. It's not that late. For all the pages that had flowers, I collected all of those together, and some of them had lines on the back, but I used, for the front part, I used the flower pages. And I took my crocodile and punched 2 holes in and put 2 heart brads. By the way, this is a crocodile, and there's a little paper punch, what is it, like 1/8 of an inch or something there, and a bigger one there. So you just do that. Also up here, it can set the word will come to me. Eyelets. Set eyelets. I think it can also set, I don't know, jewels or something else too. And you can move these pieces to accommodate for different eyelets. I don't know. Anyway, so here is a short book. I took these long papers like this, and I cut them in half, and I made a little pretty thick notebook out of those. And then I took a whole bunch of the lined papers and I just stapled that across the top. This is kind of thick, so I had to go to the back here and take a piece of pliers and squish those down a little bit more. And we're coming up on the 3rd one, so let's keep flipping. So there's a flower and a traced paper cut for coloring, and this little sunburst, and some lined paper for writing. I mean, you can write on the plain pages, or you could, do some collage or put some photos, or paste the ticket stubs from something or other. We used to go places. So we had ticket stubs. You could make up ticket stubs. Here are some flowers. And, so all these designs, and I printed out a whole bunch on one side, and then I shuffled the papers and printed out the same things on the other side. So I put little charms on the ties for the signature. And just more and more pages for writing and memories and whatever. And then in the middle, I took a piece of cardstock and cut it to size, and I made these little pockets, and I put in all kinds of, the little tags. And I also had taken some of these lined papers, and I cut them in half and stapled them into a little notebook. So there are 3 kinds of notebooks: a tall one, a short one, and the one with flowers. So there we go. And then the back, I could decorate this, I realize, a whole lot more, so I probably will. I wanted to have this fun video with you. So yeah, the second signature looks a whole lot like the first. Ta-da-da-da. I really loved these. They were fun to do. Again, I went wandering around on Pinterest and found cool stuff to... This was somewhere on Pinterest too. I mean, it wasn't exactly this, but it was sort of that. And more love tags. And the book. And the original piece... Oh, this is why I did this. So, the piece of cardstock... Hold on just a sec. Sorry. Piece of cardstock that I made this cover with started out... So I made a score here for the front cover, and then I made a 1/2 inch score, and then there was the back cover, and there was just a little bit, and the reason I didn't do a flap was because this wasn't really big enough to get up and around the outside of a book. You know, it only would have overlapped about that much, and I thought excuse me, that it would probably just, I don't know, start to bend and crumple. So what I decided to do was fold this here and make a pocket. I put a line of glue here, so this pocket actually stops right there. And then it starts again on the other side. So there's the glue. To just have a little vertical pocket on the back. And then, because this cardstock isn't quite as heavy and thick as I might want to make sure this book lasts for a while, I very carefully cut some pieces of the craft paper cardstock that I have so that you could, you know, there was this little frame of the yellow. And I even doubled up the spine and covered the spine so that these holes have a better chance of withstanding the rigors of journaling. So, and then I layered up. I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if I can get some more light on this. I punched out a whole bunch of these colors, but then I stacked them up. I think there are 4 of these little paper punches, and I just glued them on top of each other. And now they make pretty rugged little cards for the charms for the front of my book. So, okay, that's it. I just wanted to show that to you. I thought that would be fun for you, for me, and I hope inspiring. So let's make our wish about inspiration. May we find inspiration in all corners of the world. May we feel free to feel delighted at pretty much a whole lot of stuff. I mean, I know, I don't mean to sound like Pollyanna at all. I know there's some sort of garbage stuff going on, but because there's really hard stuff going on in our world, I think it behooves all of us. I've actually been working pretty hard on this lately. The better I feel, the more that energy goes out in the world. So it's not like I'm ignoring all the stuff that's hard in our world, but I also know that it's helpful if I just feel good, which is so not what I was brought up to think. I thought it was selfish to feel good when there's hard stuff going on, but actually it's essential to add to the high vibrations of the world, especially when we're all potentially feeling pretty dismal. So, may we all feel inspired and delighted as often as possible. I blow these wishes out across the planet to anyone and everyone who would like to feel delighted. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will see you in 5 days. All right, bye.